Okay.
So yes, Kelsey, what you just were talking about, that is awesome. That is a perfect segue into this group activity. Because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about each and every one of your individual hot buttons, and we're going to put them all up. And I think that putting them up on the flip chart paper might help other people to think about, oh, hey, that bothers me too. So you know, you guys think about this kind of as a group discussion. You know, feel free to shout out things. So does anyone have any hot buttons that come to mind right off the bat?
Someone who always needs to be held.
Always needs to be held. Excuse my handwriting, I'm trying to fast. I can imagine that would be a tough one for sure when there's other kids in the room. Right?
One is when a child isn't necessarily, they're not verbal yet, but already is the high pitched squeal all day.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big squeal. After about 8 hours, it starts getting.
That's when you drive home from work with the radio off.
Oh, there's still 2 hours left of the day at that point.
Does anyone have any others?
Like what I was saying, just about the patience and things going bad when they don't get what they need right away.
Does that describe it well enough? Okay. And I actually, my own experiences working with kids, one of the things that is really big hot button for me is when 12 kids are talking to me at once. And it's like, I cannot listen to all of you at once. I want to hear all of you, but I can only listen to one of you at one time. That's a hot button for me. Susan?
Attention-seeking behaviors in the classroom and how to, I guess, effectively address that without giving those kids attention, whether it's negative or positive.
That is a huge one,
Because
exactly.
it affects the whole group, so how to manage that.
And then, you know, you're teaching that child that that behavior is successful because, you know, you're giving them attention. That is definitely a tough one. Does anyone have any others? The parents in the room? Catherine has teenagers. Do you have any hot buttons from your teenagers?
Where do I start? I mean, in some ways, teenagers are super different, of course, but in more ways than you might imagine, they're a lot like toddlers. Not listening. You know, asking a child to do something, time to go wash your hands, and they just sit there and stare at you and don't do it, or they wander over to the block center, or my kid, you know, starts watching TV.
Wanders to his mouth like.
Yeah.
Do you have any experience? Wine? Are you talking about me whining in the office?
I would say almost like they listen but they ignore you. Like that's always seems like
Yeah.
they're ignoring you, but it's like
Or when
you
they
can see them like
laugh
shaking
back.
their head at you, but they're not shaking their head, and you're just like, oh my gosh.
I know you know what I'm saying.
But yeah, it's more ignoring that they're listening to you, but they're just
Like, I know you can hear me.
yeah,
They just don't care.
yeah, that's what it is.
Mhm.
Just always double check.
Just check it.
Or here, my real hot button, you guys, with my teenagers, is when they bicker with each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's nothing more painful to me than just be sitting there listening around. I said, you didn't say it like that. I thought that you said blah, blah, blah. No, that's not what I said at all. And you said that you could have, and they're just like going, it doesn't even matter what it's about. But they're talking like that to each other. I want to strangle both of them.
That reminds me of another one.
Sure.
This involves colleagues or coworkers or just other, I guess, grown-ups. When they intervene, like you ask a child a question, or like when, I guess, adults facilitate or intervene and when it's not necessary. It's like, Shelley, can you please clean up? Or, Shelley, what number am I holding up? And an adult from someplace will be like, it's 5! And you're like, what? Why?
Not really talking to you.
I know that it seems helpful and all the intentions are there, but totally unnecessary.
So I wrote down here that co-teacher intervention.
Sure.
So, another thing that's really important to remember in classrooms is that relationship. So many of these things about building a positive relationship, those can be applied with your co-teachers. They can be applied with everyone in your life. Does anyone have any others that they want to put up here? We're going to do some stuff with these later. Sass.
5-year-old Sam. Yes. Going on 18.
That's funny. Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing those. We're going to do some stuff with those later, which I think will help you, Kelsey, with what you were talking about earlier. It's so important to remember those hot buttons because, like we did on that temperament continuum, they can change where you land on that. Something that's really important in a classroom, which Susan, I'm really glad you brought it up because managing that relationship with your co-teacher, or Danny, like you said, more than one co-teacher in a room, is managing your own personal stress level. And with 6 kids around you, this is something that you have to do internally. Due to ratios and stuff, you might not have a minute to step out and say, okay, this is the thought I'm having. Now, how do I want to change that thought to have it be positive? You guys don't have time for that. You've already gone through hand washing and snack time, and it's already kind of time to clean up, all while you had that thought. So these are just a few examples of how an upsetting thought can turn into a calming thought, such as, I'm sick of putting out fires. That can change to say, I can handle this. I'm in control of this situation. I'm going to teach them more appropriate ways to behave. Teaching yourself to think that way is a challenging thing, but it's such a powerful tool if you can do it. And another thing that I wanted to talk about.
Sorry.
No, you're
Grocery
fine.
store.
Oh, has anyone had that thought before? Another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about with these slides, and I tried to exemplify it a little bit in the last slide, is simply your tone of voice, especially with which you talk to yourself. I think with a lot of people, and I can say this for myself, is I'm my own greatest enemy. Saying, oh, I wonder if the grocery store around the corner is hiring. Even the tone of voice, even my body language, is very negative. Whereas, a more powerful thought to say positively, I feel undervalued right now, but I think I need to talk to my supervisor and my peers so I can feel more supported. Does anyone want to try reading those? It's kind of fun to do it this way, reading the upsetting thought and then reading the calming thought. Sure, we can. Can we turn the camera off for this?
Sure.